Hey everyone, I'm Rob and welcome to the test drive. Today I'm driving the 2020 Mercedes-Benz GLC 300, but before we get into the video, I just want to let everyone know, if you're not already aware, I have a GoPro Hero Session giveaway going on my other channel called A Wander Affair. It's a channel that I have with my wife, and all you have to do to be entered is to subscribe to that channel and go onto the giveaway video and comment on the video. So I've linked everything up above in the cards and below in the description. We're going to give that away as soon as the channel hits 1,000 subscribers, and we are so close. So before you do anything else, make sure you go on there, subscribe, and comment on the video. Now, I am so excited to be behind the wheel of the GLC 300. The GLC was actually introduced in the 2016 model year, but it was refreshed for the 2020 model year. I love what Mercedes did with this small SUV. They really made it so much better. So there are a couple different versions of the GLC. There's the GLC 300 that I'm driving today. There's the GLC 350e, which is a plug-in hybrid version of this vehicle. There's the AMG GLC 43, which is a twin turbocharged 6-cylinder. And then there's the GLC 63 AMG, and that is the twin turbocharged 4-liter V8 version of this SUV, which is an absolute beast. It's awesome to know that there is a version of this SUV that is that performance oriented and that badass. But I have to say that I really like even the GLC 300, the entry-level 4-cylinder version that I'm driving today. So like in every other review, we're going to start with the exterior of the 2020 Mercedes-Benz GLC 300. Now, I absolutely love the way that this SUV looks from the front. It actually looks very aggressive. I love how big the Mercedes star is. The headlights look really good, very elegant. I love the daytime running lights. I really like the way that the front grille looks. And then the GLC 300 has a really nice side profile. I love that this SUV looks a little bit taller. It doesn't look hatchback or wagon-like. And then I really like how this SUV looks from the rear. I love the new refreshed taillights. They actually kind of remind me of the previous generation E-Class taillights, but they do look really good. You get dual exhaust tips even with this 4-cylinder, and I think that's great. Overall, I'm just really impressed with the look of this SUV. I think it looks modern. It doesn't look dated, even for a vehicle that's going on its 5th model year. It doesn't look old at all. Then when you get to the interior of the GLC 300, this is a really nice place to be, and I'm actually very impressed. It actually looks very expensive. In my opinion, it looks way more expensive than a $45,000 SUV would typically look. You have soft touch surfaces everywhere. Even though you have all these like silver matte chrome pieces all over the inside of this car, I actually think it looks really good. I absolutely love this steering wheel. It's so nice. It's really chunky, and some people may not like that, but I really do. I like that you get a black headliner standard, and for only $1,500 you can get a panoramic moonroof, and I would highly recommend getting that if you were to option this from the factory. It just opens up the inside of this vehicle even more. But I have to say that the GLC certainly does not feel small. I mean, for a smaller luxury SUV, it actually has a lot of space. The driver and front passenger have plenty of room up front. There's a lot of space in between the two, in my opinion. And then the back seat is actually really big. I'm 6 feet tall, and I had no problem sitting behind myself. Somebody bigger than me could definitely sit back there. And then the trunk is also really big for an SUV this size. Overall, the proportions of the GLC are perfect. The GLC 300 comes standard with MB Tex, which is a leatherette surface. It's not real leather, but it does feel really nice. If you want real leather, you can get into it for only around $1,500. The GLC 300 also gives you heated front seats standard, which is really nice because not every vehicle in this space gives you that. You can also get heated rear seats for $580. You can get ventilated front seats for $450, and for only $250 you can get a heated steering wheel. So I feel like if I was optioning this from the factory, I would definitely get some of those. I would absolutely get the heated steering wheel. I think that's a no-brainer for $250 unless you don't live in a climate that has winter. And then, you know, the rear seat heated, I don't really care because I would never be riding back there, but the ventilated seats I also really like, so I might consider getting that too. Then when you get to the performance of the 2020 GLC 300, it's again actually pretty impressive. This 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder puts out 255 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque, and that's actually pretty good. It propels this SUV from 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds, so that's not bad at all. But it's nice that there are more performance-oriented versions for somebody who wants this but wants more performance. And that's an amazing thing about Mercedes, is that
what can I do for you?
I'll talk about that in a minute. That's the amazing thing about Mercedes-Benz, is that they still offer V8s in a vehicle like this, and that's becoming extremely rare. Now, you do have a decent amount of turbo lag, unfortunately, and this 9-speed automatic transmission isn't the absolute fastest shifting transmission. The one thing I really like is that there's an M button in this car, and when you press that button, this goes completely into manual mode, and you can use the steering wheel mounted paddles to shift. Now, the shifts are not lightning fast. Actually, sometimes there's a huge amount of lag. Other times it shifts a little bit more quickly. And I have this car actually in sport mode. So there are a couple different driving modes. You have Eco, Comfort, which is the standard default driving mode, Sport, and then you have Sport Plus. And Sport Plus is essentially sport with just a little bit more limitation on the traction control input. Now, once the boost kicks in, you can really start to feel that 273 pound-feet of torque. It does kind of put you back in your seat a little bit. So while this is certainly not a fast SUV, it's definitely not slow either. This GLC 300 is also pretty planted. It feels very nimble. It corners decently well. I mean, you do get some body roll, obviously, because this is an SUV, but it's actually really fun to drive. Like, you can actually drive this spiritedly and have a good time with it. It also rides really nicely. You don't feel a lot of the imperfections in the road. Also, the fact that this SUV is rated at 21 miles per gallon in the city and 28 on the highway, and it has a 3,500 pound towing rating, all around, this is just a great daily driver. It's a great family vehicle. So I think it's really well built for the purpose that it has. It's a great all-around vehicle. Now, one of the biggest changes going into the 2020 model year was the technology. This has a brand new infotainment system, which is so much better than the extremely outdated version that the previous GLCs had. I absolutely love the look of it. Very responsive, very functional. You do have the touch screen functionality as well as this large trackpad, which takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you get used to it, it's actually pretty nice. You still have this large screen in the middle of the instrument cluster like you did before, but you now have a full 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster option that so many other Mercedes-Benz vehicles have, and that's only $750. Now, while the infotainment doesn't have navigation standard, you do get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard, so that is really nice. However, something that I didn't realize until I got into this car is that the two USB ports in the center console are actually USB-C ports, which is not that big of a deal when you think about how most new phones now have USB-C capability, but a lot of people, let's say iPhone users, may not have the USB-C connector on the other end. Now, I believe all the new iPhone 11s, or at least the 11 Pro Max, because that's what my wife has, that one has USB-C on the other end. So that could connect into here, no problem, but only with that cable. Now, you can get an adapter. I realized after I was driving this for a little bit that I have a bunch of USB-C to normal USB adapters for my MacBook Pro. But it's just interesting that they didn't put any normal or old-fashioned USB ports in here, because a lot of people still use those connectors. You can also get navigation as part of the multimedia package for only $1,250. That does give you Mercedes navigation system, and it's a really nice system.
What can I do for you?
And now we're going to talk about something that I don't like about this vehicle and about this new infotainment system, and that is the fact that if you say the word Mercedes, I'm surprised it actually didn't do it there. If you just casually say the word Mercedes, it's gonna go into voice command mode, and it doesn't always work. It's supposed to be whenever you say, "Hey Mercedes," and even now it's not doing it. So it's kind of interesting. It's definitely inconsistent, but I found myself when I'm saying the word Mercedes that it will occasionally kick in. And then there's times when you say, "Hey Mercedes," which is what you're supposed to say, where it doesn't do anything. But the command is supposed to be, "Hey Mercedes."
How may I help you?
Right there, it worked. I love this Mercedes. I'm driving a Mercedes. Hey Mercedes.
How may I help you?
Mercedes.
How may I help you?
I'm driving a Mercedes. This Mercedes.
How may I help you?
There's also a $500 package that gives you keyless entry and Sirius XM radio, and you can't get those without that package. Those things don't come standard, which those are still features that I would expect would come standard in a Mercedes, but they don't come standard in this one. There's also a bunch of safety technology that you can get in the 2020 GLC 300. It comes standard with like some frontal collision detection systems, comes standard with blind spot monitoring. You do also get a backup camera standard as well. Then there are some very inexpensive packages. For only $1,200 you can get the parking assistance package, which gives you like a top view camera and a couple other parking assist features. And then there's the $1,700 driving assistance package, which gives you the Distronic system, which is kind of like a semi-autonomous driving system and has a bunch of additional safety features. I just love how inexpensive those packages are priced. Overall, I really like the 2020 GLC 300. I think Mercedes made some massive improvements from the pre-facelifted version, and this is just a really great all-around vehicle, and it's also priced really well. I think you get so much value for $45,000. So I am a huge fan of the GLC 300. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Once again, I'm Rob. This is a test drive. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any awesome additional content. I have so many more reviews in the works. I have a bunch of videos of my own vehicles as well. I have some more modifications coming for my 2019 440i. So stay tuned because there's a bunch of awesome stuff coming to the channel. So thanks again for taking this test drive with me, and I'll talk to you soon.